Hi everybody, my name is Stef. Welcome to my channel. Today, if you are not really into blood and gore, today is a blood and gore video. Me and my partner are on our way to living a self-sufficient lifestyle, and that includes butchering our own meat, learning how to create hides and tan hides, possibly even hunting in the future as well. We're very passionate about self-sufficiency. We've watched a lot of mountain men and love the lifestyle and love the toughness that those men and women have, and how in tune with nature they are. So I understand that not everyone is ready to see this type of content, and if you're not, then that's totally okay. Then you're welcome to click away and not look. I don't think I've added anything too gory. I didn't show you when the goats were skinned or anything like that, but there are dead animals in this video. So I know that, you know, there's a lot of perceptions about killing animals, and you know, it's not an easy thing to do. I didn't put these animals down, but I knew them when they were alive, and I knew that they were going to get put down. So it was a process for me, because I obviously love animals deeply, but I also love nature, and I totally accept and surrender to the fact that this planet has a life and death cycle on it, and we are a part of it. And instead of pulling myself away from it and putting blinkers on in regards to where meat comes from, I choose to dive deeper and feel what needs to be felt, and then learn from, you know, the whole process of what the reality really is. So of life and death, and where food comes from, and where good food comes from, and that's kind of what I'm passionate about. And I've always sought out the truth in everything. I've never shied away from the gory, because if there's truth and wisdom behind it, then I always kind of dive deep. So I just wanted to jump on here and do a little introduction before we go any deeper into this video, so that you have time to make up your mind on whether you want to watch it or not. But this is part of my journey, and I'm excited to share this video because I know that there are also people out there that are excited to learn these skills, these ancient skills that our beautiful ancestors learnt, and what helped them survive and thrive in the world, so that we are who we are now, which is amazing. And to me, that's kind of learning these skills is a deeper connection to those ancestors as well, and I'm very proud to be learning these amazing skills and learning to be self-sufficient. And it's also about taking our power back, because we don't know what's going on in the world, and the world is a little bit crazy, and also I don't really trust governments to look after me. So I'm kind of like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to take responsibility for myself, and that's the path that my partner's on as well. So we're taking responsibility for ourselves and learning these skills so that we can be self-sufficient, so that we can help our community as well, and teach our community if they need to, and provide food for our neighbors and friends and family. So we're just on this journey now. So yeah, welcome. If you're new here, welcome. If you're back, thank you. If you make it to the end of this video, woohoo! And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because there's lots more videos to come. And if you like this video, please let me know in the comment section below if you want to see more vloggy type of videos where I share my farm life and journey towards self-sufficiency and the wisdom that I learn along this journey. Let me know in the comment section below. Hello everybody! Today is going to be a very different video, because at the dairy 2 goats needed to be put down, and normally they just go on kind of like they just get thrown in a hole, but I'm really about using as much of the animal as possible and really honoring the animal after death. So I took them, and I have them in my van now, and we're going to skin them, use as much of the meat as possible, and any other part that we can. we'll use some meat for us to eat and then for the dog as well. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. So welcome on this journey, and I'll talk about this and what I know that this is kind of a little bit different than what I normally talk about, but it just happened, and it was such a good opportunity to talk about the life and death cycle, honoring animals, self-sufficiency, and yeah, there's going to be a lot of wisdom that I'll be sharing throughout this video, but we got to get started before they decompose and bloat and all that kind of stuff. So welcome. My name is Stef Wild. Welcome to the channel. Yeah, I was gonna salvage this car, but so what we're trying to do is to preserve as much of the animal as possible and honor the animal as much as possible, because we don't want anything to go to waste. And we're learning about self-sufficiency. We want to be able to know where our meat comes from, and eat as healthy as possible. So part of the plan with the farm is to have goats and have milk and meat for ourselves, and so we're just kind of learning the process of skinning whenever we have the opportunity. And it's just happened so that today was a great opportunity because two of the boys at the farm were getting put down, and this is them. So yeah, and now we get to practice and honor them and thank them for this beautiful gift of meat and hide, and we're going to use the other one's horns and skulls. My love, I just wanted to ask you, this is the first time that we've skinned goats and kind of cut off meat of a bigger animal. And you were saying something in the car to me about how the process has brought you closer to nature. And what were you saying?
Understand the process. You understand that death gives life, and life. So what was it? Something life? I said something.
You said something very profound.
So profound, and now it's gone. But yeah, you get a better understanding of just life and death and the whole cycle of it, and that there has to be death in order for there to be life, and life also causes death, and it's just part of it.
Yeah.
It's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just by kind of being a part of this process, it's nice because you have a deeper connection to the animal as well, and their life that they've given, and also to like the process of getting meat. Are you paying attention?
Yeah. So someone's starting to brawl over there. Yeah. It's an amazing process. My gut's still flipping a little bit. It's going to take a little bit to get used to, but it's part of it. I'd rather do this than how to say it. I'd rather learn how the process is done instead of just going along blindly and just I don't need to worry about it.
Yeah.
It just comes all pretty in the package, and so I don't want to think about the rest of it.
Yeah.
I'd rather be part of the whole process.
Yeah, and know exactly what's involved. It kind of grounds you in truth and what's real.
Absolutely.
Thanks, my love.
Thanks.
You did amazing today.
Yes, I'm ready to lay down.
So I've just finished fleshing the first hide. I'm just having a break. I don't know if I'm going to do the second one today because it's been a long day, starting work at 5:30, milking goats, and then skinning and butchering goats, and then fleshing hides, or a hide, and cleaning both the hides. So I think I might just leave it at that, just let it dry, and then put it in the freezer until tomorrow so I can keep going. But I just wanted to talk about kind of the journey of creating this lifestyle and being okay with such a graphic skill set and lifestyle, I guess, which we're getting into. Well, first of all, me and my partner watched a lot of Mountain Men, and we're still working through the seasons. There's a lot of seasons. And what we loved about that was learning how people live off the land, are self-sufficient, they have all these survival skills. And, you know, a lot of these skills like butchering animals and hunting and hide tanning are just second nature to them, because that's kind of the life that they grew up in. And I just love that, because they have the power to just go out and harvest their own food. They don't need much to survive, and they're happy living that lifestyle. That's what they want to do, that's what they love to do, and they are free people. And we became super inspired by that. I wanted to do farming for a long time, but I think I didn't really realize what goes into farming until I actually moved on to my own farm. I worked at, you know, other horse farms and stuff like that in the past, but starting your own farm, living on the land, and working towards building a farm is massive. And then, you know, we were growing our own food after the floods and all the water and rain that we had. We kind of never rebuilt our gardens, but that's the next thing on our agenda. Growing our food is so fulfilling, and I miss it this season. I missed having those veggies growing, because it's so nice to just go out into the garden and pick your own food that you've grown, that you know what's gone into it. You haven't sprayed it with anything. There are bugs that are eating it because it's organic and it hasn't been sprayed with anything. It hasn't been shipped from one country to another. It's just right in the backyard, and it's fresh. So that is something that I really love. And then with the meat as well, you know, I used to be vegan, and the one thing that I love a bit about veganism is the fact that it shone a light on factory farming and the big corporate farming corporations that just really don't care for the animals. And you know, that was a big awakening for me. And I was a vegan for a little while, but then I realized that there's a difference between small farms and farmers and those big corporate farms. And the small farms, you get to have a relationship with the animals, you get to care for them in a more intimate way. Then I also learned about hunting, which I would love to do in the future as well. And I love the fact that your meat is living a wild life. And, you know, being out in the world and not constrained by anything, and just living their lives until, you know, the worst day of their life, which is the end of their life, and a hunter comes and shoots them. In nursing, when I used to be a nurse, the nurses said that doctors generally opt for quantity of life. They want to prolong their patients' lives as much as possible, and that to them is successful, while nurses look at quality of life. You know, it's not about quantity, because someone can go on for the rest of their lives and be a vegetable and have no life fulfillment comparing to someone that might not live so long but has a really great quality life. So quantity of life is something that I really look for. And if animals have a good quality of life and they're living happy lives, then I'm happy to participate in this life and death cycle, and which is part of this planet. It's part of this planet, and I feel like we try to reject it so much in our cultures and in our societies these days. When my grandma died, I read a book about 5 Regrets of the Dying by Bronnie Ware, and that was one of the most significant books that I've ever read. And in it, she spoke about how in the Western world, in our Western cultures, we tend to hide death and, you know, put old people into nursing homes and not tell, you know, kind of not mourn properly and just hide death in general. And she said that when she visited India, bodies were burnt on the Ganges, on the banks of the Ganges, and bodies would float down the river for everyone to see, and death was just a part of life. And that part of, you know, people were exposed to it, so they're far more comfortable with it. And by living on a farm and choosing to expose myself to this life and death cycle, you know, I feel stronger. I feel also more prepared for my own death when it comes one day. I feel like I am actually a part of the life and death cycle of this planet, which is a law of this planet, instead of just being an observer, a reluctant observer, and someone that is in denial. So that has been really, really powerful for me to be exposed, to expose myself. And that's why, even though it's uncomfortable to participate and witness animals dying and all that comes with it, it strengthens my part in the life and death cycle, and therefore strengthens me and makes me tougher and wiser and more knowledgeable and grounded in what is real and what is true. So that is why I really love self-sufficiency and learning all these new skills. And these are the skills that if I do get a chance to be a mum one day, I hope to pass on to my kids so that they can also be grounded in truth and the cycles of life and death and nature. Because nature isn't just pretty flowers and trees. Nature is brutal, absolutely brutal. But the more you expose yourself to it, the brutality kind of, it all kind of makes sense, even though sometimes it's kind of like, oh damn, did it really have to happen that way? But yeah, nature is glorious and brutal as hell. So it's nice to be more familiar with the natural part of life and living and life on this planet, and what it takes to be alive on this planet, because without death we don't have life. All of our nutrients go back into the soil. I was watching the blood drip from the goats' necks today into the soil, and I just thought about how those nutrients are going to nourish the soil and make the soil better, so that other microorganisms and animals can come and feast on those nutrients and then continue that life and death cycle. So yeah, that is what I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you've managed to stay this long after seeing those gory pictures. Congratulations. I didn't want to throw too many of them in, just kind of little bits and bobs. I think you get the idea. But this is me, and this is why I do it. And yeah, hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, make sure you give it a thumbs up. I'm sure there'll be some people that give it a thumbs down. Because anytime there's any blood and gore, then that, or a difficult subject, especially on death, then that tends to trigger people. And what else? Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for being here. Make sure you subscribe to my emails as well, and check out my social media channels below. Alright, love ya, stay wild!